all the persons that I can name, because they are so numerous who have helped me in this, the donors, the supports also for this show. But most of all, I want to thank all the artists who have participated to this exhibition, because we had, with most of them, the time to share ideas, to work on the creation of their new works, and I can also see that for some of them, they could also realize their best work according to my own knowledge of their art. And for me, it's really the most important thing to put the artist and the art at the center of the exhibition. Art has been my passion for forever, if not an obsession, and I'm very happy to share this passion with you and the public, because I position myself as a curator in between the artist and the public. And for me, this biennale is also addressed to every kind of public who can encounter a work of an artist and understand it in the best possible context. For me, it's very important also to put the voice of the artist in the center, because I think the artist has a responsibility and something to say to us, especially in a time that is threatened by some regression, some populism, some voices against the freedom of that is carried by art. And I think it's very important to protect it and even to reaffirm the freedom of art. And for me, it has been also a methodology to put the artist at the center, as you will see, because it's not only about having the works in the exhibition, it's also about a lot of parallel projects that I have developed, like the Tavola Aperta and others that I will explain more in details later on. So the exhibition is organized not as a unique thematic journey, but through different sequences of pavilions, because I've tried to also choose the right context for each artist to be the best understood, and also because I wanted this exhibition to be an experience both of thinking and perception, with a sort of path or journey through different universes. So you will begin this journey in the central pavilion, in the Giardini, with the thematic of the self, so the self of the artist, the way the artist works, his universe, his studio, his influences, and then step by step you will arrive without noticing, also because there is no big wall separating each so-called pavilion. You will arrive in the Arsenale in the dimensions of the common, and more it will open towards the outside, because one response of the closure on oneself is really to also ask questions about dimensions that are ungrabbable, and also address some spiritual and more metaphysical issues that are in the artworks, but sometimes not enough showed. So you will have also the possibility to see parallel pavilions about the books and the practices of the artists. I will explain it later. So let's enter in the show itself. By the beginning, which is the pavilion of artists and books, like a prologue of the exhibition. And you will find this work at the very entrance, which is a work from a very important artist from Zagreb, conceptual artist, who at the end of the 70s realized this series of photographs of him lying on his bed, or even sleeping. And you will then just next to him see a little room devoted to Franz West, was already been showed here, so the idea is more to make a small cabinet de curiosité and to insist about a very important point that I want to develop at the beginning of this show, which is to define what is an artist today and also what is his daily life, what nourishes him. And I think we have to rethink about this old, ancient dialectic, very familiar to the Italians, which was a Roman dialectic, the otium and the negotium. Today, when you translate otium, it's about leisure. When you translate negotium, it's about business. But in the ancient understanding of the terms, otium is this very moment in which you are with yourself, in a sort of laziness or non-activity, and you are able to develop something that can be creative or intellectual. And in the ideal planning of a Roman man, but that had the means to have the time for it, all afternoon were devoted to otium. And for me, an artist is someone who also take this time in his day to not do something, because not doing something prepares for the making of the art. This moment of the thinking is for me very crucial, and in this sense the artist shows that maybe the free time is not only about leisure or entertainment, but also about nourishing oneself. So it's not only about creative people, but also about all of us. Frances Stark also, who is there lying on her bed, she's making a sort of statement about our own world, and she's thinking on her couch, surrounded by famous artworks of art history, and also reference to the law culture in US as a whole to build her practice. I also wanted to bring this idea of the studio in this pavilion, but not to move studios from artists, but to invite artists to make work if they were not existing before on the studio itself. So for example, Dawn Casper, you will meet her in flesh in this pavilion, because she moved after having problems to rent a place. She decided to move in the museum and to live there. So she's really like showing her daily life between non-action, otium, and also interacting with the public. And for me, the notion of negotium, which is properly translated by business, refers more to the ancient concept of being involved in the life of the city, like the res publica. And I also show in this pavilion some artists who are deeply concerned by, I would say, in their civil life, deeply concerned by having a role in the city. Like Olafur Eliasson, for example, who is in the central room of the central pavilion, who is dealing with the idea of educating people, of sharing knowledge, and also helping migrants to integrate in their life here in Italy. The studio is also, ironically, with the work of Hassan Sharif, who is a major artist from the Emirates, a supermarket. That's the title of this work that you see on this picture. That is made of all the works he has done, and so the piece itself is the storage that he used usually to put his work together. I want to show also the world of an artist, and sometimes this world is already present in the work. For example, you will see one of the most important artists for French New Realism, Raymond Hans, with his famous Airbus luggages that are full of books. And it will be a way for you to enter in his mind and to understand his way of thinking. He was describing himself as a web artist,